Tell us, Anna, what interests you? Have you read the information on the website?
Yes, I studied it all, watched the videos.
Видео посмотрела много, ну не
Many,
все,
but
конечно,
not all,
потому
of
что я,
course, because it
наверное,
was only 4 days
скажу,
ago,
наверное, дня
as my
4,
friend sent me a
мне
link.
подруга прислала ссылку, она,
She
ну,
looked at
посмотрела,
it
говорит, слушай,
and
говорит, это
said,
точно
"That's exactly
тебе,
for you,
на,
take a
смотри.
look."
Ну, знаешь, что
She
я
knows what I'm
интересуюсь
interested in such
фильмами, и
things.
я сразу же
And of course, I immediately
сразу
began
залезла,
to
начала
watch.
смотреть, вот, и, в общем-то, очень много чего
In general, a lot
откликнулось,
of
очень
things
много чего
resonated
откликнулось.
with me.
Прошла я
I listened to a
медитацию
test
тестовую,
meditation.
прослушала. Вот, и у меня сразу
I
такое
had
было
such an
состояние
interesting
интересное
experience
после
after
нее. Я ее
it. I
слушала
listened to it in the morning,
утром, ну, наверное, где-то часов в
around
11,
11
может быть, и
o'clock.
у меня было
I had
какое-то такое
such a state of
расширение. Визуализации
expansion
не было
where there
вообще.
was
То
no
есть никаких я не
visualization
видела
and I
картинок,
didn't see
ничего.
any
У меня
images.
было такое вот
I had the
глубочайшее
deepest,
всеобъемлющее состояние
all-encompassing
любви
state of
какое-то, и
love, grace,
благодати
or
даже какой-то,
gratitude.
благодарности. Даже не
I
могу
can't even
вообще,
describe the
просто вот
feeling.
состояние бытия
Such a
просто.
state of just
Вот
being,
такое, что вот я есть, и
like
вообще
just
настолько
here I am,
классно.
and it's so
Вот.
cool.
И потом, ну вот, мне захотелось открыть. То есть я прослушала
I
все, и
listened to
когда
the
уже пошла
meditation
музыка, я просто
itself, and
лежала, лежала,
then
потом
when it was
захотелось
just
открыть глаза,
music
я
playing, I
встала,
wanted to open
села,
my eyes. I sat
открыла
up,
глаза,
opened my
и у
eyes,
меня была
and I had
абсолютнейшая тишина
absolute
в голове.
silence in my head, and
И
suddenly,
просто вот я была. Я
here I was.
сидела и
I
смотрела на
was just sitting
потолок,
there
там, на
looking at the
какие-то
ceiling,
кроссовки
looking at some
какие-то.
sneakers in the corner,
Ну вот такое
that kind of
состояние, то
state.
есть очень мне, у меня просто, как сейчас модно
It's
говорить,
like
да, был
people would
опыт
say
пробуждения,
nowadays
так
that I had
называемый,
experience of
когда вот
awakening.
у меня
It
случился он в
happened to me
сентябре,
in
в
early
начале
September.
сентября, и я ощутила
I
вот это
felt
вот
this being
бытие и
and
радость. Ну, то
joy
есть я есть все, и
when
все
I'm
есть я.
everything
Потом
and
настроение
everything is me,
ушло,
but then
просто
the
оно
state went
пропало. То есть,
away.
видимо, в какой-то
Something
момент что-то
must
открылось
just have
как-то
opened and
и
closed at
закрылось,
some point,
и все.
and that's it.
Вот, и это было очень похоже. Вот это было даже, ну вот именно вот такое состояние, и я, конечно же, вцепилась, сразу же
After the
зацепилась за
meditation, I
это, и
was
я
in the same
поняла, что это
state,
то,
and
что
of
я
course, I
искала
immediately
много
clung to
лет,
it.
потому
I
что я
realized that this is
практика там
what I've
всяких
been looking
разных
for
прошла,
because I've
лет,
done
наверное,
all kind of
12.
different practices for
Ну, эти
probably
всякие
12
тренинги,
years.
ну, как правило,
All
это
these
просто
trainings are
разочарования
usually just
какие-то. Это,
very
знаете, как
frustrating.
допинговая
It's
какая-то
like a pill,
таблетка, да,
like a
которая на
painkiller
какое-то
that
время
doesn't last long.
дает, как, ну, как обезболивающее какое-то, да, то есть она заряжает там на
Well, it
месяц,
seemed that
от
it freed
чего-то ты
you from
какой-то пакости
something, from
освободился,
some
где-то там блок какой-то
mischief,
снял,
some block gets
а потом
removed,
опять
but then
начинается
everything
вся эта
starts all
история.
over
И
again.
теоретически я понимаю,
Theoretically,
что
I
все это
understand
я,
that all this is
да, вот, ну,
me.
как,
I am
что
the
я
designer of my
конструктор
life.
своей жизни. И
And
эти
your
видео
videos that
ваши
I
я
watched are
посмотрела,
proof
это
of
все
that.
подтверждение. Но
But I
практически
don't
я не
know
знаю, как
how to
этого
achieve this
достичь, да, то есть, ну,
practically.
толку с того, что я
What's the
набиваю опять
use of
свой ум. Ну, по
fulfilling
сути, я
my
это и
mind?
делаю,
After
собственно
all,
говоря.
that's what I'm
Вот, то
basically
есть я
doing.
знаю, да,
I
что вот
understand
и
that my
болезни мои это
diseases are
я, там,
me,
и
and my
отношения с мужем, с
relationship with my
ребенком это
husband
я.
is also
Я не
me,
знаю, как
but
это
I don't know how
поправить.
to fix it.
Вот, ну не
I
знаю,
really
честно. И
don't
я смотрела,
know.
когда видео, и
When I
я
watched your
поняла,
videos and
что,
reviews
ну,
of
и
your
отзывы
work,
тоже смотрела, и я поняла,
I
что мне
realized
помогает
that you
это
helped to do
сделать.
this.
Tell us more about your relationship with your child.
Ну,
Well,
как сказать,
what can
ну,
I
с ребенком
say?
у меня
I
дочка,
have a
ей 16
16-year-old
лет,
daughter.
она такой
She's
вот,
like
как,
a
знаете,
hedgehog.
ежик. Вот.
You know,
Вроде бы и
it
мы
seemed that
общаемся
we
хорошо с ней,
communicate
она
well
все
with her.
рассказывает, как-то еще
She
что-то. Ну,
tells me
стоит мне
everything,
что-то
but
ей,
if I
там,
make the
замечание
slightest
какое-то
remark
дам
to
или еще
her,
что-то, она это
she
воспринимает
takes
как
it
будто как
as a
нелюбовь
dislike on
какую-то
my
с моей
part, as a
стороны, как
rejection.
непринятие. Вот. И точно
In the
так же
same
вот
way, my
здоровье у меня
health
начало
began to
валиться сейчас.
deteriorate.
То есть у меня
I
начались
got
там
fibrocystic
мастопатия,
mastopathy,
фиброзно-кистозная
some
пошла,
hormonal
гормональные сбои
failures,
какие-то пошли,
my
ну,
blood pressure
начало
started to
давление
jump,
прыгать, там зрение у
my
меня
vision
ухудшаться
began to
начало. То
decline.
есть опять-таки какие-то видно
Apparently,
непроявленные
it's
вещи.
some
То есть, ну, если
non-manifested
разбирать
things
это
in
там по
me.
каким-то частям,
If
кускам,
I
да,
want
там
to
уже,
analyze it
ну, не
well,
вещей
according
тоже
to, for
брать,
example, Louis
я,
Hay,
ну,
then I
причины
can
могу
understand
понять,
the
да, там,
reason.
ну, если там болит
Like a
горло при
sore throat is
невысказанное, там,
something
губам перец,
unspoken, a
там, грустно и так
herpes
далее. То
on
есть,
the lip
ну, это
pops
все
up is an
объясняется.
anger,
Как
or so
сделать, чтобы
on.
оно
That
работало?
explains it.
Я не
But how
понимаю.
do I make it work? I don't
Я это ищу
understand.
уже много
I've
лет, то
been
есть
looking
чтобы
for
вот этот,
this for
ну,
many
баланс
years, well, to find a
подсознательного,
way to bring the
сознательного и всего вот этого
subconscious and
привести в
conscious into
норму.
balance.
И то, что вот я
So when I
посмотрела
watched your
видео, то,
videos
что,
and saw these
ну, вот эти вот
results, I was
результаты, меня
very
это очень
inspired, to be
вдохновило, если
honest.
честно. Вот, потому что я
I
смотрю,
see that
что
we
здесь
can
это
go to the
обращение к
original source,
первоисточнику.
into the roots
Именно к
of everything.
первоисточнику, там, где лежат все, скажем так, ну, где корень, да,
Ну
вот.
да, да-да-да.
А я, получается, всю жизнь, ну и вообще вот система
Our
наша
whole system is
современная, мы
designed
лечим
in
листья, да,
such
вот
way that we
поливаем
treat
листья
the
вместо того,
leaves
чтобы
instead of
лечить
treating
корень.
the roots.
Вот. И, ну, я это
I
понимала,
always
но не
understood
было
that, but I
информации, не
didn't
было
have the
инструмента. И
tools.
поэтому я вот столько лет нахожусь
That's
в
why I have
поисках,
been
тыкаюсь
searching
там
for
от
it for
одной
so
школы
many
там к
years, going from
к
one school
другому,
to
от
another,
одного
from one guru to
этому к
another,
10-му,
from one
просто
retreat to
наверняка,
another,
вот, сработает
and
то
I
же
didn't
самое. То есть
succeed.
страхи есть, да, вот
It's
сейчас
the
у меня
same
какие-то
thing with
перетрубации на
work. I have
работе
fears.
начались,
I have some
я
anxiety
начинаю
at work
бояться
now. I
потерять эту
started to
работу, да,
fear
потому что
losing
это
this
для
job
меня
because it's source
источник
of income
денег.
for
И тут
me.
я обнаруживаю
And
страх
then I develop a
безденежья,
fear of lack
сильный
of
очень
money, a
страх,
very strong
потому что
fear.
я на самом
The
деле
fact
боюсь
is that
остаться
I'm
без денег
really
лишь из
afraid to be
источника
left without
дохода.
money,
И
to lose my income.
это вот
This
буквально
information
информация
came
пришла,
to me
наверное, дня
just
3
3
назад,
days
и я
ago,
поняла, что я
and since
внутри, я
then I have been
терзаюсь этим.
tormented
И
by
я
it.
вижу эту
I
мысль,
see the
я
thought, I
отслеживаю.
track it, but it's
Ну, этот бред
nonsense.
мне просто надо.
I'm
Я
tired of it.
понимаю, что
I
это
understand
мысль,
that this is
которая
just a
приходит,
thought, that
уходит,
it
моя
comes and
реакция
goes, and
уйдет.
there is
Но
my
она есть,
reaction
эта
to it. But
реакция,
I
она
have it, this
откуда же,
reaction.
зараза,
So
приходит?
where
Это
does
просто
this thing come from? I don't know.
вот. Ну, в общем, у меня
It
это,
reminds me of some kind
ну,
of
это,
stupid
знаете, как
pendulum.
напоминает
There
какое-то
is a
вот
thought,
диетическое маятник какой-то, да, вот она
I
мысль,
track
я ее
it,
отследила, она пропала.
then it
Потом она
disappeared, then
опять
it
появилась. У меня
reappeared.
невроз уже,
I
честно
already have
сказать, на эту
neurosis, to be
тему
honest, on this
какой-то.
topic.
Ну и самое, что,
Well, the
ну,
most
интересно,
interesting
да, как
thing
бы,
is that this
вот эта вот
situation with
ну,
money
ситуация с деньгами, она высветила
highlighted
мои
some of
детские
my
какие-то
childhood memories,
воспоминания,
that in my
когда там
childhood there
отлучения
were
были в
these
детстве, и,
restrictions.
ну, то есть я
I
какие-то
saw
пласты
that this
тоже
is not a
увидела, что это
momentary
не,
topic.
ну, не сиюминутная тема, она просто
It was
высветилась в данный
always there and now
момент.
it just got
Вылез вот
highlighted.
этот страх, и я
This fear
поняла,
came
что он
out,
просто
and
всю
I
жизнь
realized
сидел,
that it was
потому что
sitting
всю жизнь
there
я
all my
себе не
life because I
позволяла,
never allowed
ну,
myself to
жить
live in
так,
prosperity, let's
в
say.
достатке,
I've
скажем
never
так.
had
Мне всегда не
enough.
хватает. То есть именно
It's
вот
like
это
a
вот,
sense of
знаете, как
living, not out of
ощущение
abundance,
не из
but
изобилия
out
ты
of luck.
живешь, да, а из
That's my
недостатка.
story, a
Вот это
life of
моя история жизни
scarcity where there is
недостаток.
never
Всегда не
enough.
хватает. Да,
And
вот
yes, the most
родители,
important
самое
thing I
главное
forgot to
забыла
say that
сказать,
my
что
mother
у меня
is
очень
very
больная
ill.
мама. Собственно, что меня
Actually,
и
that's what
подвигло на
prompted
такие
me to
большие,
do
ну вот,
such a big
поиски,
research
копания,
and
самокопания. У нее
self-examination.
глубочайшая, сильнейшая депрессия.
She has the deepest and most
Депрессия не
severe
та, которую
depression. It's
говорят
not that
там,
kind
да,
of
на
depression
улицах и на
people talk
лавочках, а
about
та,
on the
которая
streets,
лечится в
but the
клинике.
one that is treated in
Она,
clinic.
значит,
She has
уже
been
7
in this
лет,
state of
наверное,
depression
где-то
for
в
about
сильном
7
таком
years.
состоянии депрессивном. То есть раньше было как?
It used to be
Она
like
каждые 2
this. She
месяца
went to a
попадала в клинику,
psychotherapist's clinic about
к
every 2 months.
психотерапевту,
They gave her
антидепрессанты,
antidepressants
кололи
and
там,
even
и даже
gave her
делали ей 8 ЭСТ, если вы
8 EST, if
знаете,
you
что
know
это,
what
да?
it
Это
is.
шоковая
It's
терапия,
electroshock therapy.
электрическая. Вот.
Somehow it would lift her up for
Но
a couple
потом
of
на пару
months,
месяцев ее
but
это
then
как-то
she would have a
поднимало, и
mood
это были
swings.
синусоиды
At
настроения,
first,
то есть
it like
сначала
strong
сильный
surge
всплеск,
and
потом
then
сразу резко упадок,
immediately
и
a
она ложится
decline.
и
She
вообще
just
ничего не
lay
хочет,
down and
ничего
doesn't want anything, to
ну,
the
вплоть до
point that
того,
she
что она не
doesn't
ест,
eat,
не
drink,
пьет,
or do
ничего не
anything.
делает. Пару лет
A
назад,
couple of years
наверное, может быть,
ago,
даже,
she
да,
was
пару лет, от
abandoned
нее отказались вообще.
altogether.
Врач сказал больше, тот,
The
которому мы
doctor
платили, в эту
that we
клинику
paid,
возили, это ну, была
because
история
all of
такая,
that wasn't
ну, не
free,
совсем
told
бесплатная, скажем
us
так, да.
not to bring her to
И он
him
сказал больше
again
не привозить ее сюда, потому что она
because
весит
she weighs
47
47
килограмм, она
kilograms, she's
истощенная,
emaciated,
она не
she doesn't
разговаривает
speak at
вообще.
all.
Она буквально
She can't
там
just say a few
пару
words,
слов она может мне
call me,
заучивать
ask,
здесь,
how are
спросить, как
you,
ты,
and
и
that's
все.
it.
Все остальное мой монолог, ну
Everything
просто она
else is
как
just
вот
my
внимания
monologue.
какого-то хочет,
So
а
she
так
just
она,
want
ну,
attention, but
очень тихо
beside that,
говорит,
she doesn't
практически
say
ничего
anything.
не говорит. Ест она только
She
тогда,
eats
когда ей
only when we
предлагают.
feed
То есть,
her.
если скажешь,
If
пошли
we
есть,
say
она
let's
пойдет. Не
eat, she'll
скажешь, она не
go. If we
пойдет.
don't say let's
Она
eat, she
пыталась
won't
уже
eat.
не есть
She
вообще, то
try
есть
not
это
to eat
было
at
как,
all.
я расцениваю как
I see it
суицидальная
as a kind
попытка,
of
ну, как она,
suicidal
видимо,
attempt.
хотела уйти,
Like she
причем
wanted to
отказать
leave
пищи
by
не дали.
starving herself. We
И,
didn't let her do
ну,
that.
отец ее в реанимацию
My
отвез,
father took her
ее
to the
этими
emergency room
кололи,
where she was fed
кормили
intravenously.
внутривенно.
He
Ну, он ее
prevented her
выписал,
from
не
starving,
дал.
didn't let her
И
die,
сейчас он
and
ее
now he
кормит,
feeds her
ухаживает
and
за
take care of
ней.
her.
Она вот
She
целыми
lays
днями
down all
лежит
day
в
and doesn't
больнице,
get
и
up.
вот при этом она не
But
поправляется.
besides Despite all of that, she doesn't gain any weight. I can't say that my father feeds her a lot. More or less normal portions. A little bit less than average. But at the same time, she doesn't gain any weight at all. She's very, very thin. She lies down all the time. She doesn't come out at all. You know, it's like in a movie, freedom or no freedom, it's all the same. She doesn't care if it's day or night, light or dark, or if there is someone in the room or not. That's kind of state.
How does she communicate with you? Is she coherent?
She understands everything, yes. She listens. She asks, how are you doing? How are you? How is Katya? Katya is my daughter. We were amazed. It was my birthday, she remembered. She called me and she congratulated me. My father was shocked. He said, look, she understands everything. She just doesn't want to talk to anyone. And by the way, when she speaks with a whisper, as if she's forgotten how to speak. It's very hard for her to talk. But with all of this, she really understands everything. She looks at some old photos that will bring her from the basement. So she sits sorting through old photos, reads some books, looks at something. So it's not dementia, no.
Look, so let me get this right. At this point, she has some interest in something. She can look at photos, right?
Yes.
But what else? What else is she interested in?
I think that's it, nothing else. She wanders around like a shadow of some sort. Another thing that really bothers her is when Dad leaves home. As soon as he goes out, she starts calling me right away. She's afraid of being alone. So she starts calling, and I calm her down. Dad just went to the market, so don't worry, he will come back soon. Or he went there with his granddaughter, he needs to take her somewhere. And even when he goes to the garden, when he plants tomatoes in the summer, he calls him every 20 minutes, where are you? Where are you? She doesn't say anything else, just where are you? And he said, yes, I'm here, I'm in the garden. I mean, she calls him on the phone. And it's not an interest of any kind, it's definitely fear. And from her interests, well, she just goes through the photos, look at them, that's all, nothing more. It's a clinical depression, really, very serious.
So, how often have you told her, or are you telling her, that you love her?
We never told her.
Well, that's it. It's worth starting there. So something starts changing. In fact, after all, when a person ceases to feel their involvement in anything, especially adults, parents, they feel unnecessary. And if she still has this sense of guilt, plus this neediness, then it just gets worse and worse, and she shuts herself down in this condition. Just because she has some interest and her own mind is stable, she has a power. So this can change. She herself still holds on to this world, onto this reality. This shows that everything can be changed. But to do this, you need to talk to her. You, in this case, need to say that you love her, that you need her, and something will shift, I assure you. Definitely it'll shift.
Listen, can you imagine while you were talking now, I caught myself in fear. I thought, my God, what am I getting myself into? Can you imagine? I traced the fear. There is a direct feeling in my chest.
That's good. I don't know if you're familiar with Castaneda's work, or if you've heard of this person.
Well, I heard, but I read maybe one book or two. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But I heard enough to know what's it all about.
Good. There is an expression there, a very good one, that the only way to get rid of fear is to meet it halfway. In fact, our fears are an indicator of our strength, because our potential, that we don't see in ourselves and don't want to notice, always hides behind the fear. Life just shows it. That's it. And when a person goes through this, a powerful insight opens up behind this barrier.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Nice to meet you too.
See you Saturday then.
Yes, Saturday. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. After the session, the state appeared. State of presence. Some sort of presence. I feel like I've been connected to my higher self. I don't even know how to describe it exactly, but I have a constant feeling that I'm not alone, that everything is one. I even caught myself on the fact that when I walk down to the street or even into the woods somewhere, I realized that all this is me. It breathes this forest, and I breathe with it, and the sense of wholeness is amazing. And the mood is, it's not something that happens drastically, like from a purchase, for example. No, it's just high. You're just in a state of joy. Such interesting things began to happen with people in my life too. I began to perceive myself as one common whole, and I began to see mirrors in other people. And when I have this inner state of love, state of happiness, I realize that people around me start to smile. I had such an interesting experience. I went to the store, and there is a drunk guy at the checkout. A really drunk guy. I can't stand them. They're dirty, smelly, nothing nice at all. So he stands there, and I caught his eye, and suddenly I see that he is a human being. He has the kindest eyes, huge lashes, and I start to smile at him quite spontaneously, and I had no squeamishness, no disgust, not even any bad thoughts about him. I just went to some kind of internal love. I don't even know how to describe it, but I just felt love for this person, for those eyes. And I find myself standing there and smiling at him. He says, "Oh, what a beauty you are. How are you doing?" So he talks to me quite calmly. I said, "I'm good, thank you." He said, "Come on, don't stand in line here. Let me buy you a chocolate bar." I almost collapsed. I thought, wow, he didn't buy a bottle for himself, but a chocolate bar for me. Here it is, such a small things. I left the store almost dancing, not because I got a chocolate bar from a drunk, no, but because I saw human in him, an equal person, and a manifestation of God. Yes, he's playing that kind of game now. He needs to live this life through this experience and that kind of quality. After the session, I also began to notice that I started having some interesting insights about people just playing games. Really. And everyone plays their own game. Someone raises dogs in the kennel, someone is engaged in hunting, even though this is not a very pleasant game for me. Someone embroiders, someone fights with their relatives and likes doing it. And we are all manifestation of one whole, and this separation, in fact, makes us suffer. I see that we separate ourselves from others, and then we try to rise up above them to show our significance, some kind of importance. So I began to see that for real, and in general, it's very interesting. There was even a moment when it happened with my mom. A person who had not spoken for 3 years and was depressed, did not get up, did not speak, did not do anything. She started talking to me in a completely normal voice, even though it was only once. But nevertheless, after our session, she began to get up slowly. Yesterday, she even tried to wash the dishes, and it shocked Dad. Even though she moves slowly, at least she does something. This is a really huge shift for a person who was in a terrible depression for the last 10 years, 3 years which was lying down and saying nothing. The changes are really global. I see. It's clear that matter is inert. It doesn't manifest itself as quickly or change as your mentality. But anyway, such things are very interesting. My husband was not very successful in his business lately, and his earnings fell drastically. So during the session, I sent him a flow of love when you said, hug your husband, direct this flow of love to him. I really directed this love. And just yesterday, or the day before yesterday, he received a text message confirming a large successful deal, making him a lot of money. So everything is great, and in 2 weeks, we'll fly to Thailand on vacation.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I associated with this flow of love too. I mean, there was something that was closed inside of me.
Of course, yes.
In the same way, my relationship with my daughter changes. Somehow it opens up more, the love began to manifest more. As before, I can feel this flow. So interesting, I also observed. I had an incident at work that could have upset me, some working moment, let's say. I realized that at any other time, before I started practicing and having session with you, I would have been really brooding over it. I would walk around, going over it in my head for another week, worrying, driving myself crazy, thinking, how can I live now after all? But now I really understand they're just thoughts. They just come in and I react. I feel like I see myself from outside. It's my thoughts that make me keep spiraling. And now I have a kind of ability to see it. To see it and to stop. It's like I realize that this is nothing more than a thought that I can either think and fall into or not think. Now, at this very moment, everything is fine. Nothing is happening. The sky has not fallen to earth. Why torment yourself with something that isn't there yet? When you see this integrity, when you experience this flow of love, and you understand that this is all just a game of some sort, it's not that serious, and it's all up to you. I really understand that. How should I say it? Well, that we're basically wizards. We conjure our own kind of life. I saw this clearly, being in a state that all this is our choice. Everything we do, it's really our choice, and our choice is to go positive or negative, play here or play there, to play in relationships, in career, and so on. We're really wizards here, and the world responds to all our desires with absolute love. Let them be good or bad. There is nothing good or bad at all. But nevertheless, in fact, these are all our games.
Yes.
The mood is great. It's not, as high as after a shot of cognac. No, such a state of, well, some kind of goodness or something. There is no fear now. Here's really no fear. I understand that the world is so friendly. There is so much love in it. Everything is here. I now have even begun to eat with such pleasure. I ate persimmon. Damn it! Well, really thanks a lot for it. Such persimmons or grapes. All of this life gives us such gratitude. The sun is shining here, I don't know, the trees are growing. I began to enjoy such simple things in life. And to see this joy, the most important thing is that it has always been around. But we are so focused on distractions and in our frustrations that we forget that the world is beautiful, that everything around us is generally good, and drunks can buy you chocolates. Of course, this is such a small example, but regardless, it's a reflection of the inner state.
Yes, yes.
I started experiencing such things. For example, when I drive, suddenly some free parking space miraculously appears in the center of the city, or the people that I need come into my life. If I sign up for something, I somehow skip the line. Well, some small miracles began to happen. I think the big ones are also coming at me with leaps and bounds. There are so many interesting people to meet, so many things going on, and some gifts are coming to me from outside. I would probably have paid no attention to something like that before, but now really understand. Damn, this is such a gift, thank you. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Indeed, when you're in a state of fullness, when you are in this flow, the world opens up. It's true. It opens. It's alive. It communicates with you. It interacts with you. And it's all built on such love that, well, it's just amazing. So cool. So it's like that lately. I really liked it. Thank you very much. And for all those who are thinking about going or not, doing or not, I mean going through sessions, I still recommend it to go and to do it.
Thank you for viewing. If you liked this video, please click like, write comments, and subscribe to the Pure Consciousness channel. Special thanks to those who repost our videos in their social networks.